Alright guys, and we are back now with our, I guess I can call it now a post-update 25 walkthrough. Well, lethal walkthrough anyway. So yeah, what is good guys, we are back. Unfortunately, yes, still with the retrospective commentary. It's going to be either this one or the next one that'll be our last, given the, length of our footage. And then afterwards, we'll end up switching back to our normal live commentary as we game. And then I guess that's when you guys will be able to see more of my thought process as I go through this walkthrough. So continuing off on the night of our first day, still hunting for plague samples. Luckily, this plague territory still it only has one heart. So, there's a lot that I can do, or a lot that I can free up just by liberating this one area. And we're giving now this new girl her first time out. Hopefully be able to get some more skills. And we're still hunting for our first plague samples to get our cure up before we can actually take more risks. That's just my general rule, at least when starting out in the lethal zone. Always have your cure before you take any major risks. It's just really not worth it to lose a valuable character, especially so early that you could have easily stopped.
Could be worse.
Now, one of the things that I remember being kind of worried about, even though it is technically just day one, given how much of the map is kind of like locked up by plague territory, looking for food is still a major deal. And unfortunately, I can't even get any food outposts right now. This is like the nice general area here, and there's really nothing much I can do with it other than to just loot it. So yeah, I'm still looking for more resources, more food particularly, just something to help us or carry us through until we're able to make much bigger moves. Yeah, but of course, building up that wit, or those wits as much as we can. Yeah, but of course, just more of those parts. They always come in small quantities, but I take them anyway. They do add up. And this is what recycling also is supposed to help with, because parts, they come in small quantities, and they're not exactly the most frequent thing either. So finding an alternative means of acquiring them was a must. So I think I'm going to be standing by recycling as a beginning skill, like, most of the time. Yeah, at this point I think I'm scouting for more food spots and possibly even materials. And then there's that heart. But I really don't have any offensive measures right now. Man, just like looking around this map, a lot of the threat levels are just beyond anything I can even possibly hope to handle. Look at that, 5. Yeah, there's no way I'm unlocking that. Camp Kellenquaw only has 2. So that will actually be useful information for later on. Possibly. I'm contemplating changing up maps. My last playthrough was done in Mayor Valley. Plus, for those who have seen my most recent video when I did my exploration from Update 25, I'd already looked at this landmark outpost. This one particularly, the wind farm. Yes, probably does. The wind farm pretty much just allows you to have like base-wide power, so you don't need a solar array or a generator if you do manage to get that landmark outpost. So yeah, I probably will end up changing maps in the near future. And also in my last playthrough, I started off with a trader and then transitioned to the builder, because I think that's just the best boon to have, but this is still a boonless walkthrough, don't get me wrong. But no one needs to see the builder story arc all over again. Oh, look at that, plague sample, perfect. So I'm probably thinking, I'm not even actually sure. It'd be between the sheriff and the warlord. I don't really care that much for finishing off with the trader. I think Warlord makes an interesting story arc. For anyone who has seen my review of State of Decay leaders and their boons, I would say Warlord is probably one of the most dangerous ones to have. Sure, you can get yourself a good amount of firepower because that's kind of what they search for, but at the same time, you'll make a lot of enemies very easily. I don't know. I'll think about it. Plus, I mean, if there's any like story arcs you guys want to see, I mean, feel free to leave it in the comments, and it's like, it's worth consideration. Although I'm not sure which map I'm going to go to yet. Drucker County's okay. I don't really mind that map at all. Plus, I like the bases there, or at least one of the bases there. Cascade Hills, I don't mind at all either. It'd probably be one of those two. Not really a fan of Providence Ridge. But yeah, I'm doing pretty much anything I can to get my wits up. Oh, look at that, and that zombie turned at the perfect time. Now, I know that using the crossbow or bolts has a greater chance of, dropping plague samples from plague Zeds, but my resources are limited. This is still only just the beginning of the game, and I don't really have much hopes of finding any more bolts. So I'm being rather conservative with them. Gas is always good to have. That one we actually don't have any daily growth in right now anyway. We can't really have any daily growth in anything because we can't get any outposts. I can imagine, how difficult this will actually be. Or like for anyone starting off fresh with this new update. In the beginning, I can imagine like things are kind of like cramped. You're in a race against time. You can't really get any outposts because, most places are covered by plague territory. And taking out hearts in and of itself will be quite the task if you can't find any offensive, explosives, or something. So yeah, here we are looking for more food pretty much. There we go, some more wits. Only 1,000 more kills to go.
Found a few more of them.
Oh, beautiful, another plague sample.
If I can't use it, maybe someone else can.
Now, textbooks are still going to be useful. I do probably plan on having cooking again. With the new way that outposts can work, I don't even have much of a prediction on how my team is going to look, how many recruits I'm going to have, because, I mean, generally, you can upgrade your outposts so that they have even more of an outcome. So it could change things, or, like, change how I compose my team, because typically in the lethal zone, I like to keep my team small, particularly with a max of 6. So that way food is not too much of a stressor. Plus Red Talon might also end up changing. Again, these are things that I'm just going to end up figuring out on the fly. I don't have any particular working strategy that anyone can kind of replicate. This will literally just be a bit of a blind walkthrough with some pre-update 25 strategies. And I'll just I'll just adjust it as I go. And I guess that's when you guys are really going to start hearing my thought process the most, when I actually get to the live commentary part. Hopefully it should be after this episode. I'll see. Yep, these guys are going to be my go-to for a little bit of extra influence.
Staying safe out there?
Let's make a deal.
Yeah, sure.
I don't really mind how slow-paced things are right now. I mean, it's only these guys. It's probably only going to be these guys for a little while, since, nothing's really going to progress until I give them their samples. But no, my cure comes first. Oh, look at that. Alright, I guess I left that bad boy there. I think I should have enough for a cure by now. Not really sure, I wasn't really keeping count. I'm pretty sure I have enough for a cure at this point. Oh, wow, look at that. My first feral. Nice. Yeah, I wanted to take this guy on, so I was just going to lead him, you know, up to a more secluded spot, close to home, just in case. I mean, there's really no need to leave him, you know, sitting around. There we go. You know, it always seems, most of the time, I would say this strategy works. You know, just those 1 second, maybe a little less than 1 second intervals of striking. Always make sure you're holding forward, and try not to make those transitional strikes. Because then that way you kind of get caught in animation lock, and then he can kind of counter. You don't want that. But I mean, with the with the hygiene skill, everyone does have more plague resistance. So I mean, that's helpful in the beginning. I was hoping to just find some more explosives on them. Unfortunately, yes, they are the only allies or friends I have on the map. So resources in that regard are going to be a bit difficult. And 2 remote box mines are nowhere near enough. They do approximately 12.5% damage against a heart, so I'd have to make up for the next 75% with something else, and, you know, quite frankly, I don't think I'd want to do that with just, you know, a simple melee weapon. It's doable, but chipping away at a heart, especially with such a small amount of damage, it's doable, but extremely dangerous, and you're likely to just come out with way more infection than you'd want. Alright, look at that. We got food. I keep an extra weapon. Nothing wrong with that. I do plan on using Red Talon, but I'm not going to, like, buy my way, like, out of the first, like, plague heart. I'm not going to depend on them, pretty much. Because anyone can call up Red Talon, buy like a few thousand explosives, and, you know, get rid of whatever plague territories there are, you know, easily. What I like to include in my walkthroughs is not necessarily doing things the hard way, but doing things with the least amount of advantages, let's say. Playing by the rules and not just depending on some cop-out. Yes, I could easily call up Red Talon and, you know, a lot of problems that I might be facing now are just, you know, easily drawn away. But at least if I can show doing something, you know, like taking on my first plague card without having to rely on, you know, something that you can just buy, then I mean that at least anyone can do it. And then those who do like to rely on Red Talon, well then, you know, you're gonna have an easy time anyway. So I like my walkthroughs to be viewed by anyone. Whether they are a Red Talon user or a Daybreak player versus non-Daybreak players, anyone can use it and say, hey, you know, it is doable. Mind you, though, that doesn't mean I won't use like a Red Talon agent as part of my community or something. I can technically get by just fine without them. It's more like, if the bonus is there, I'll take it. But understand that it's not necessarily a requirement for me to survive. Alright, so now we're traveling to another spot where one can find some extra ordnance. It's one of those unmarked spots. I know there's others, but I mean, I don't remember them specifically. You know, after I get through with these Zeds. Yeah, that's quite a lot of them. Yep, sneaking doesn't exactly work, but whatever. I'm confident in my fighting skills, so if I do see, you know, a fair amount of Zeds, I'll try my luck. And she has energy drinks. I mean, you know, we'll be fine. So yeah, this spot right here, it should have at least some explosives, maybe even incendiaries. Oh, nice. Alright. Forgot about that one. Yeah, that's a strange glitch that happens, but I mean, hey, if you get lucky, you know, consider it a blessing. You know, the state of Decay 2 gods are, you know, smiling upon you. Okay, well, that's not a very good example. I only found parts in that one. Alright, a pipe bomb. Those are a nice little staple I like to use. Chemicals. Meh, I don't mind such crafting materials. They're alright. Like, for example, scraps of circuitry, I would always love to have those. Wow, more parts. Jeez. Okay, the spot is, usually not so dry. Damn. I mean, I guess it's really all RNG, right? Might. Barely. I can sell it at the most. Alright, so we got parts, a pipe bomb, and some chemicals, and choco bangs. Interesting. Alright. Pack of cigars, or whatever that was. Alright, whatever. So, minimal amount of ordnance. I was expecting something, a bit more. But whatever, that's okay. We're not going to have any use for those right now. We're definitely not ready to take on that heart yet. Not even close. A heavy weapon would help. It's doable, doing it with a heavy weapon. But also very dangerous. It's easy to get swamped in there and, catch the plague and stuff. Just, not good. Alright, look at that. Yeah, we've definitely got enough to make our first cure. Although our meds exactly, they're not looking the greatest, and I don't want to deplete my meds to absolutely nothing. So I think at this point I was contemplating, just going up to that heart with an extra weapon, and seeing if I was able to put any kind of substantial damage with just a regular melee weapon. Oh, and there you go, an ammo box. Yeah, always keep your eyes open for these things. You never know what you're actually going to find inside. Nothing wrong with some rounds. Actually, ammo, I would say, is extremely important.
Looks like nobody else is home.
Oh, look at that. And another spare weapon and some health. Yeah, we can use that. Yep, so the pressure kind of got to me. Figured out, what the hell. Let me just see. I think I was like, I'm contemplating. Let me just see what I can do with this heart.
Well, if it isn't a feral, the Tasmanian devil of the Zed world.
It's a pretty good description. Yeah, I think I recognize that I may have been spotted up here. So I'd rather just kind of beat him down there rather than have him, like, waiting at the base and drawing more Zeds. But, no, he didn't notice me. But still, I don't really like to leave ferals around, especially if it's close to a plague heart. No thanks. Yeah, it's like become second nature for me to just kind of sprint away briefly instead of using the dodge function. It's like my mind is still thinking, yeah, I'm gonna get plague if I, dodge right through him, which I could have just technically done. But I mean, if a method's not broken, don't fix it, right? So there we go. That guy's down. No problem.
What a wonderful smell we've discovered.
Alright, so yeah, this is where I was thinking, alright, let me just see if I can put any kind of good damage. Oh, that was really bad timing. Let me see if I can put some damage down on this heart. And of course my weapon breaks, so we gotta switch over. I mean, at this point, it just might be a battle of attrition. I barely have anything to help me out. But yeah, this might be a bit much. Yeah, this might be a bit much for her. Now, typically, my meter for infection would be much higher from the amount of strikes that I've taken. Look at that, more plague sample. But that hygiene is coming in kind of clutch. Yeah, here we are. Here we go again, glutton for punishment. Let me just see what I can do. But yeah, it's way more risky than I may have anticipated. Yeah, look at that. Oh my goodness. The foxtrot never fails when running away from a horde. Of course, you know, unless there's a feral in that horde. So yeah, I realize, you know, that's not exactly the most effective way that I'm going to deal with that heart. That's definitely for sure. I find it hilarious that these guys, you can still sell, like, a completely busted down weapon to them. Yeah, sure, it's only 8 influence, but still, who's really gonna buy a weapon that you literally cannot use? Unless they really, like, plan on revamping it or something.
And we're all done here.
Alright, look at that. We got ourselves a latrine, so now our morale can look just a little bit better. And we barely have the materials to build, well, anything now. Alright, so now at this point I'm taking advantage of one of the surrounding buildings that I know would have materials in it. Oh, and look at that, and food.
It's clear. For the moment, at least. This is gonna come in handy.
Oh yes, so I'm trying to get my infirmary up to the 2nd level. Unfortunately, the level 1 infirmary is almost useless. You know, it doesn't really get rid of injuries. At least, I'm not really sure if it gets rid of injuries or if the rate at which it gets rid of injuries is just ridiculously slow. But regardless, you know, get your infirmary to level 2 as fast as you can. Especially if you've managed to accrue injuries, which this woman actually has now.
Keeps us going for a while.
Otherwise, you know, you could end up running the risk of even lower morale. At least that's what I experienced in my first playthrough. Someone actually got pissy and threatened to leave, and being able to heal up their injuries actually helped them stay. So yeah, now I'm looking around. Is there anything else I can use or obtain to help me out just a little bit? But yeah, there are other areas, especially for materials. Materials aren't difficult to find. Not too difficult, at least not on this map. Alright, nice. And more wits. Excellent. Alright, there she goes. Now she's getting tired. So then we'll have to switch out.
I need a break.
Now, usually I would not really touch these resources so close to the house. I kind of just leave them there as like an emergency. It's like if I really need food or meds, you know, I can just run next door or across the street. But given, oh boy, wow, jeez, that's scary. Given our circumstances, it's kind of like, all right, I mean, I don't really have much of a choice unless I'm going to go venturing off, waste a bunch of gas, and just find more plague territories. Ultimately, what my plan was to get like at least like one outpost, something, particularly a food outpost to help me with my food offset. I don't know. That was my priority. Just getting food going, ideally maybe even upgraded at some point.
Looks like we got a bloater.
Like my plan can only go so far, you know, given the update.
Cloud. that bloater when it pops.
Alright, so yeah, that was another bit of a broken rule, guys. Don't go around just, firing off rounds. Now, it is the daytime, so it's, it's not that dangerous, and yes, it is possible to shoot off some rounds without there being any Zeds. But typically, I wouldn't advise using rounds if you don't have to, especially in the beginning. I think I got kind of lucky with the amount of ammo that I was able to find. I definitely do have some to spare. But yeah, some of you might actually get kind of unlucky if you want to fire off some rounds and then, have to answer to a feral or two. Or three. It's possible. Yeah. So I realized that my meds were too low. To create a cure, I mean, yes, it's just enough. You need 2 units of meds and 5 plague samples, I believe. But I did not want to completely deplete my meds, so I had to go in search of finding some, which is unfortunately, that's going to be one of the houses close to home that I typically leave for emergencies.
Got Zeds around. Nobody's getting tired.
But, whatever. I'm confident in my ability to, bounce back from this kind of thing. Like, sure, maybe I don't have emergency storage for stuff, but I'll find a way. Alright, perfect. At least everyone's stable now. Man, it's a wonder what clean toilets can do. A nice heavy weapon, that is a beautiful find, actually. Heavy weapons against a heart, I would say, are very, very effective. Just taking on a heart with melee, in and of itself, is just a dangerous process in the lethal zone.
At all.
Don't do it without a cure. Honestly, don't do it without a cure. I don't recommend it anyway. Perfect, and there's our meds. Alright, good stuff. Now we pretty much have our free ticket to be a little bit more risky, let's say. I mean, plus hygiene, chances are I won't have to use it, too soon, unless I do, or have some really serious blunders. Like, getting bitten, or, I don't know, having a really bad run-in with a feral. Look at that. Of course there's a feral. And a bloater. Yeah, I'll just have to lead him away, because I don't want to fight around a bloater. It's one thing you don't want to do.
I need a breather. Aim for the head.
I will always stand by that method until, someone else comes up with something better. Of course, if you have Powerhouse, great. It's not a problem at all. But, I've read some stories from some of you where it's like you just spawn in the game and then, oh yeah, feral came and then, I got the plague and I died. I will always stand by that, that one-hit method. No transitional strikes, just that first initial strike over and over. They should be locked into position. And, sometimes they might try to counter you, but most of the time, it should just be a very simple process like the one you just saw. Alright. Here we go. We're ready for round 2 now. Got our cure. Yeah, this heart's begging to get destroyed. And it's going to unlock so much.
I gotta catch my breath.
But still, conservative. No need to back yourself into a corner. Oh, alright, that was interesting, but it worked out. Now, I'm surprised there isn't a feral yet. Usually once you're attacking a plague heart, it's like automatically you're gonna have to deal with at least one feral. So yeah, even though I do have cure, I am trying to play it a bit safe. I don't want to back myself into a corner that I can't get out of. And the Foxtrot really does help with kind of just escaping, coming back for the reset. Even though, yeah, of course, they like to crowd around the heart. Oh boy. And then I decide, you know what, let me just fight these guys. You know, for the first heart, it does seem pretty tame. So it's a good time to take, you know, just take advantage of it. Especially with a heavy weapon, honestly. This heavy weapon was kind of a blessing. And a plague sample. Nice. Nice, nice.
Should probably take a break before I fall over.
Yeah, I got a little bit afraid of the pulse thing that it does that gives you infection. Oh, there it is. Man, what a deadly sound. I rarely decide to take on hearts up close like this, so I don't even hear that sound that much. So yeah, that's just a very unsettling noise to hear come from it. Probably would have been smart to at least bring one remote mine or something. But, you know, whatever. Look at that. We're making some good progress, and there's no Zeds at all coming in for the attack, which is actually quite surprising. Maybe it's because it's the first heart. You know, it's... I don't know. Like, it's giving off that weird, pulse thing on the mini-map, which draws in the Zeds. Okay, there we go. You know, I guess they're taking their sweet time coming in, which I'm not, you know, not complaining about. All right, beautiful. And that heart is down. Beautiful stuff. Nice gun, Molotovs, health. That's good. Now, what I don't know is if the first plague zone, or plague territory you come across, if that's always just going to have one heart. Or if it's possible to spawn in and, you know, you're surrounded by places that require 4 hearts or something before you can actually, claim an outpost or something. I'm not sure what the distribution will be like, if it's completely random, or if it's, you know, the further out you go, the harder things get type deal. But yes, for anyone who is struggling in the beginning, if you don't have the right ordnance, explosives, incendiaries, whatever, try to find yourself a heavy weapon. It is quite effective against hearts, I will say.
Empty. Let's beat it before the place collapses. Still a few brainless roaming about.
Nice.
We'd be idiots not to turn this into an outpost.
Yeah, we would. Yeah, I would definitely say food is a priority in the beginning. Very, very crucial that you have some kind of food intake, because losing 6 a day is a lot.
That said, a little more work would really pay off here.
Now, upgrading it, of course, is the challenge. I'm not sure how much it costs. I don't think I looked at that. No, I didn't look at it. Upgrading is the challenge, but it's doable. Just requires some materials, which recycling can technically cover over time. And, what? 800 influence, I think? Oh, wait, maybe I do look at it. Oh, there it is. Okay, yeah, 5 materials and 800 influence. Really not that bad at all. Now, with all that out of the way, I would like to think, you know, I'm kind of safe to give those guys, you know, 2 measly samples. I think I should be okay. But yeah, we got a good amount of stuff to drop at home. That one heart, it did a lot. Wait, no, we still can't upgrade it, eh? Jeez. Alright, so now on the lookout for more materials. I know there are some unfinished houses in that area I just highlighted. And there's bound to be materials there. That last slot, I don't think I was saving for anything in particular. Alright, fair enough amount of activity. Alright, and this place is just full of them. But man, nothing handles crowds like a heavy weapon. Now, this kind of thing would be, it's kind of dangerous. Well, I'm sure I have a cure and my infection level's not very high, but those situations you don't want to be stuck in. They can turn bad real quick. Unless that happens, which is now the second time that has happened. Again, just take it as a blessing and carry on.
We can't secure the place with a plague heart close by.
Yeah, we don't need to secure the place, we just need the resources in it. We'll be fine.
If I can't use it, maybe someone else can.
I guess a water cooler is kind of okay. I don't typically use them. I just prefer to have base-wide water. But yeah, I guess it does have its uses if that's something that one really can't attain. Alright, there we go. First set of wits, and we got our materials. Beautiful.
Nothing more to find here.
Oh, double tap. Nice. That will actually be very helpful. Oh, I definitely screwed that one up. I don't even think I have any fire on me. No, I don't think I have fire on me. Oh, boy. Yeah, taking these guys on the old-fashioned way, this is, again, trouble just brewing. Not to mention, she really does not have the stamina for it. Now, this is not something I don't really like to do, but, I mean, I just really wanted to get rid of the infestation. I don't even have a repair kit yet, so it's inadvisable to go crashing through Zeds, even in reverse. I find that some of them, there's like a detection issue. Some of them will actually end up hitting the front of the vehicle. At least that's been my experience. Or they kind of hit the side, and that counts as hitting the front. But whatever. The infestation's gone. That's all that was important. Morale is already fragile enough. Look at that. Another play example. Nice. Alright, beautiful. And that's what we wanted. Alright, look at that. Our morale is actually at cheerful. That's awesome. But otherwise, I think that marks the end of this episode. In our next one, we definitely will be having live commentary. And maybe make some new decisions, too, about how the rest of this is going to look.